Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Also, speaking of the Discord, they now have dark mode, which is way better than what it used to be. It used to just, flash your eyes whenever you opened it. Anyways, let's continue with Cardano. So right now we have a 1-2 setup on the chart. It's not the best 1-2 setup. Obviously, the first wave right here, it's not the best first wave move to the upside. However, we still can get a third wave right now, and the target for that is at 92.3 cents. That's the 200% extension of the first wave, and that's the next target. Now, before we do that, we also have to get back above the bull market support band, which is currently between 78.6 cents, let's say, and about 89.1 cents. So even if we get back above it, that will still not confirm that the low is in right here in the fourth wave, because we need to get 5 waves up first, obviously, and then once we actually get these 5 waves up, if we actually do get them, then that will only complete the first wave of the fifth wave right here. So there's still going to be some work to be done, and of course we will need an ABC down after that, and then the third wave, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave. And I know I'm saying the word wave a lot, but it is what it is. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, Bitcoin dominance should start breaking down extremely soon, and maybe it does right now, maybe it does, in the next couple of days or so. If it does not start going down very soon, it's going to be bad for the market. However, maybe it will start breaking down when Bitcoin gets back above its previous all-time highs. Maybe that's what we are waiting for right now. Now, as you can see, the market is in an uptrend right now, which is good. However, please do not get fooled by this, because we could always drop again, and we could always get, another low, or at least test the support zone right here. Well, it's the trend line, to be honest, and we could always test this again. And we also have this one right here. So if it does go down, we have two, major levels of support. One is at like 70.8 cents, and the other one is at about, let's say, about 67 cents or so. So if we drop below this, then the possibility of us getting another low and the main second wave right here is just going to go, higher. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Now, keep in mind, we are almost overbought on the 4-hour chart, and obviously this does not really mean anything. If Cardano wants to go up, it will go up. I mean, this right here, what happened here is a very good example of that. It was overbought on the 4-hour, and it kept going up. And of course, nobody remembers these corrections on the way up, but of course, during these times, people were already panicking, and I mean, people will panic again when Cardano finally gets a move up, only for it to drop to, like, let's say about $1 again, and then go up again. So people will always panic no matter the market situation, and yeah, please remember that. Now, as you can see, Cardano is still above the 200-day moving average, which is the blue line on the chart. It actually reacted to it like 5 times already, so that's very good, and we'll see if we keep, staying above it. Now, what's important right now, like I said, is getting back above the bull market support band, and right now we are about to test it. And if we do what Bitcoin did, and what did Bitcoin do? Well, if you go on this chart, it actually got rejected by the bull market support band first, and right now we're trying to, get back above it again. So we'll see if it actually manages to do that or not. Keep in mind, speaking of Bitcoin, it's also back above the 200-day moving average after getting rejected like a bunch of times. So if we actually manage to break back above the bull market support band, which is at, like, let's say $95,000, then the chances of us bottoming right here are going to only increase. So we'll see if that happens or not. Like I said, this could just be a big fake out, and until we get above these highs right here at about, let's say, $100,000 and $95,000, I cannot confirm anything. And obviously, getting back above the bull market support band is going to be bullish, but like I said, it's not going to be enough to be able to confirm that the low is in. Now, going back to the Cardano chart, I also have to say that even though it looks good right now, you have to know that it could always fail, and if it does fail, it will only fail because of Ethereum. And if you look at what Ethereum is doing right now, it's actually reacting to the 0.618 support level that I gave you a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, this is the support zone for the fourth wave move down. We reacted to it. By the way, this is the golden ratio level, which is a very important level, so we could have bottomed. But then again, we also need to get back above the 200-day moving average and the bull market support band first to be able to confirm that. And yeah, we'll see if that happens or not. I'm still bullish. And by the way, I'm still expecting Bitcoin to hit like $255,000 by the end of the cycle. I know it sounds insane, but I think it's still possible as long as it actually gets to about $140,000 by the end of May. And if you look at the weekly chart, I mean, I've talked about this already, but I have to keep repeating it because some people do not watch the videos every single day. So basically what we have here is a bunch of corrections on the way, and this right now is the third correction of this cycle, and people are somehow complaining about this, even though when you look at what happened in 2017, I mean, this was even worse. We had like 6 corrections in the post-halving year and nobody was complaining back then, so I don't really understand why people are complaining right now. Also, these corrections right here were also major corrections. This was a 34% drop, this was a 38% drop, a 40% drop, a 29% drop, and this right here was like 35%. So people complaining right now does not really make sense, considering the fact that in this cycle we have not even dropped as much as we did in 2017 cycle. I mean, here for example, we dropped like 22%, here we dropped 32%, and right now from the all-time highs we are down like 30%, so this is obviously nothing to complain about, at least not right now. However, we still want Bitcoin to stay above $69,000 because that's exactly the 0.618 support level of the fourth wave of the main third wave move. We do not want to break below that, because if we do, the whole setup for the main third wave will turn into a diagonal, and yeah, we do not want to see that. Also, if you look at the RSI, you should remember this. I mean, I've talked about it already, but if you haven't, watched the videos, then I guess it's time to repeat it. If you look at the RSI, it always reacted to the RSI, on the weekly at least. When the RSI got to about 44, we have 4 reactions here, maybe even 5. If you look at this, thing right here, maybe we actually reacted to it 2 times here. And yeah, we reacted to it multiple times, which leads me to believe that the low could be in just because of the RSI and just because the price is showing a reaction. Now, what we need to do right now is get back above the moving average on the RSI, which is currently at 59. And in order to do that, I think we actually have to approach the all-time highs and maybe even get above $100,000 first. And if we actually do not get rejected by the moving average, which is a possibility, you never know, if we actually get back above it, I think that could lead to some kind of big rally by the end of May, and we could be at $140,000 by the end of May, which, by the way, from these lows right here, it's an 87% move to the upside, and this is not that unrealistic, especially in 2 months, considering the fact that this right here was also an 80% move to the upside, and this also happened in like 2 months. Of course, from the low it took like 4 months, but from this low right here to the high, it only took 2 months to go up like 80%. So it's obviously possible to go up that much, and it's Bitcoin we are talking about, so it can obviously do that. Now, is it going to do it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, and like I said, this could always be a fake out, so please do not get fooled. And going back to the Cardano chart, let me actually talk about what's happening in the long term at least, because I have not done that since yesterday and it has been a very long time. So yeah, right now we are in a 1-2 setup and we are starting the third wave. The third wave already had another 1-2 setup, and the main target for the third wave is $2.98. That's the 200% extension of the 1-2 setup. However, that's only the minimum target, meaning that we could overextend to the 2.272 extension, or maybe if we do what we did in the previous cycle, which is get above the 1.618 extension of the previous all-time high, then the third wave could even get to like $5.30, but that's most likely the most bullish scenario that we have, and if something like that happens, we could actually get a fourth wave and a fifth wave move up later in the year, and that could actually put us at like $8. Now, is that going to happen? I have no idea. Also, speaking of the long-term chart, at least the weekly chart, from this high right here to this high right here, it took about 1,337 days, which means that if we do the exact same thing in this cycle, we would have to top in April of 2025, which is like 1 month away. Now, can we do that? Well, I don't know. You also have to keep in mind that here, for example, Cardano went from like 12 cents all the way up to like $1.60 in only like 1 month. So I think it's definitely possible. Actually, not 1 month. I think it took like 2 months or so. So it's definitely possible for something like that to happen. However, I would not get my hopes too high. And right now, the levels that we need to watch are $2.98 and $4.25. But before that, we also need to get back above the 0.618 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high, where we already got rejected like 6 times. So we'll see what happens with that. And also keep in mind right here, from the all-time high of 2017, well actually 2018, to the all-time high of 2021, we went up about 126%, meaning that if we do the exact same thing in this cycle and we go up 126% from the previous all-time high, that would put us at about $7. And I think that's actually realistic when you look at it this way. Now, is it going to happen? I don't know. It all depends on Ethereum, like I said, and Bitcoin dominance still has to break down. I still hope it will break down by the end of the month, but at this point, who knows? And I'm going to give it another week when April starts, but if we do not get some kind of move to the downside by the end of the first week of April, it's definitely going to start getting concerning. Now, I mean, if you look at the ADA Bitcoin chart, it's looking a lot better, and we did not really get another low like I thought we would, because we got one right here. So basically, we have a 1-2 setup just like right here, and I thought this right here was a fake out like it was over here, and that we would get another low, but it seems like that's not the case, at least not right now. Now, who knows, maybe it's still gonna happen, but I highly doubt that, considering the fact that ADA Bitcoin is currently at the bull market support band, and it's actually above the 200-day moving average. It reacted to the 200-day moving average many times, and we are about to get back above the bull market support band, which leads me to believe that the low could already be in, and maybe we are not getting to 500 satoshis again. But I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, a cross on the bull market support band will be bullish, but to do that, the price has to do something like this, and not only the price, but ADA BTC as well. So yeah, obviously we are still far away from something major happening, but it could happen, you know, in a couple of weeks, and I really hope it does, because if it doesn't and we get the summer drop on the Bitcoin chart, then the whole altcoin market will take a big hit, and we do not really want to see that. So also, speaking of the altcoin market, I cannot talk about that and not talk about ADA Ethereum. So let me talk about this chart as well. Let me zoom out, and this is the wrong chart. Let me look for the other one, the better one. This is also the wrong one. So let's see. Okay, this one right here is way better. So what we need to know about this chart is that it's in a downtrend, and ADA, if it wants to prove itself in this cycle, has to break above the trend line right here. As you can see, I mean, we keep putting in lower highs every single cycle, meaning that basically ADA could theoretically, you know, top very soon against Ethereum, and maybe from that point on it will only get outperformed, which would obviously not be good, because we would keep being in a downtrend, meaning that at some point Cardano will go to 0 against Ethereum, and obviously people do not want to see that. So what we need to hope for right now is that we actually break above the trend line and break above the previous all-time highs, and to do that right now, ADA would have to outperform Ethereum by about 2.5x. Is that possible? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Keep in mind, when Cardano starts going up, it does not stop for a while, so we'll see if we actually get any type of bounce right now or in a couple of weeks or so. And that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. And yeah, it's only like $5, so check them out. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.